Very disappointing loss. Falls on me. A lot of silly things happened throughout the game that cost us. And it really happened throughout the entire game, not just at the end. But of course, the two penalties at the end were devastating. So that's all me. We got to have more discipline. We got to make sure that those things never happen again. You got to be able to focus and lock in the entire game and play football and compete, whether things are going good or not. And we gave in at the end and did some really dumb things. So we didn't deserve to win, and it was a bad day for us.
Did Stanford surprise you in any way?
You know, I think this is a competitive conference. Stanford has a really athletic quarterback. They found ways to throw the ball against us effectively, which was disappointing. So I give them credit, and they hung in there and played to the end. So they, played 60 minutes and much cleaner ball than us, and they deserve to win.
What did Mosley present such a challenge to you guys? He had 3 touchdowns, 13 catches. What made him such a difficult cover today?
Well, we got beat on a double move. We got beat on another play where we're up too tight to the field. We never play that tight, and they were getting open on us. They were max protecting the time and going to one-on-one battles, and we did not defend well. So, I think we loaded the box to stop the run, and there were some windows to throw, but really some easy completions at the end that we can't allow to happen.
What was the thinking on the 4th down with 11 seconds to do the Hail Mary? What were the other options that you were kind of waiting?
Well, you need the punt there. That's what we were going to do at first, and then it's a matter of, do you try to chuck it deep and know that they just have really one play for a Hail Mary, and that was the thought there. Obviously, they threw a little pass to the sideline that didn't gain any yards, but it got him a penalty. So it was lack of discipline on us, and then they're right there on the fringe, and then we have another penalty, so we pretty much handed them an easy field goal.
You talk about discipline with the penalties, but even more so than the yards, I think 3 sacks were negated, 2 interceptions were negated, a 2-point conversion. It's just you had a lot of positive plays that you got negated because of your penalties.
Well, it's the same penalties. It was jumping off sides. So, I mean, the fact that we did it that much is a complete lack of discipline. The fact that I allowed that to happen and have a team do that is embarrassing. So I need to do a much better job, and that needs to be a complete focus in making sure that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot like we did. Extremely costly. Cost us throughout the game and then at the end, and very, very disappointing.
Was there anything with the cadence that made that difficult for your unit there?
I mean, sometimes if you go on 2, you just got to wait and see the ball snap. So obviously we haven't worked that enough because we had multiple people do it, and we did a lot. So that is very disappointing.
What went into the slow start, do you think, in the first quarter?
You know what? I'm trying to think back. I'm not for sure. We weren't really efficient. We didn't run the ball extremely well early on. We didn't hit some shots that we had, and it was just a multitude of things. Then we kind of got some things going. We had Isaac go down, so we had some other runners in there. We got to be more efficient. We got to be able to move the ball and take some time off the clock at the end. And we got to be able to get stops at the end of the game. It's disappointing to allow a team just to go up and down the field at the end of the game when the game's on the line and you got to get stops. You got to get stops. I mean, they had to drive the length of the field, and we allowed them to do that. So it's disappointing.
Were you happy with the team's preparation coming off the bye and the Clemson win?
Well, we addressed the fact that coming off a big win, you're always going to possibly let up slightly, and you can't allow it to happen. You're going to get beat. It's happened to us. When we brought up the Pittsburgh game last year, brought up numerous games throughout the history of us playing. And anytime you go on the road in conference, you got to play well. So we couldn't talk about it anymore. That part, I think we addressed over and over and over again. But of course, the mistakes, which can be summed up with a lot of silly offsides calls and dumb penalties, cannot happen. So that is something that, as a head coach, that's my responsibility, and that needs to get fixed.
You know anything on Isaac, and Duke did fill in well for him once he went out?
No, I think it's some shoulder injury. We'll see where it's at.